We all love our houseplants, right? We fill our homes with them, thinking we're making the air cleaner, doing our little part. But are we? Is that actually true? In this explainer, we're going to put that common belief to the test, and I think the answer is really going to surprise you.
So here it is, the big question for our explainer. Can that little jungle you've got growing in your living room really do the job of an actual forest? I mean, we love our indoor plants, they look great, they make us feel good, but when it comes to the heavy lifting, the actual life-sustaining environmental stuff, well, we need to take a much closer look.
And this quote, wow, this just frames the whole conversation perfectly. It draws this really sharp line between the comfort we get from our plants and the actual survival that trees provide. So let's really dig into what losing survival actually means.
All right, it's time to move past the vibes and get into the hard data. The numbers here, they tell a pretty shocking story. And it all boils down to what we're calling the oxygen equation. So let's start with us. With you, right now. Just sitting there, not doing much of anything, your body needs about 250 milliliters of pure oxygen every single minute. That's our baseline. It's the constant demand we're putting on the world around us just to exist.
Now, let's look at the other side of that equation. Your typical little houseplant, it's only producing about, wait for it, 0.2 milliliters of oxygen per minute. And this is a huge and, it only does that during the day. At night, it's actually using up a tiny bit of oxygen, just like we do.
Okay, so let's put those two numbers together. This is where it gets wild. We need 250 milliliters. A plant gives us 0.2. So, to meet your own oxygen needs for just 1 minute, how many of those little green guys would you need? Go on, take a guess. What do you think?
Yeah, you are seeing that number right. You would need somewhere between 1,000 and 2,500 small plants all crammed into your room just to give you enough oxygen for 60 seconds. It's a staggering number, right? It just immediately shows how completely impractical this idea really is.
So, if our houseplants can't pull their weight, what can? Well, it's time to introduce the real champion of oxygen production, the tree. Okay, so just to hammer this point home, we're talking up to 2,500 plants to support one person for 1 minute. That's the scale of the problem. But what's the alternative?
And this is the real game changer. One single mature tree provides enough oxygen for 2 people for an entire year. It's not even in the same league. The scale is just mind-blowing.
So, how on earth do they do it? Well, it's all about superior design, really. A tree has this massive surface area of leaves, all working on photosynthesis. It's out there soaking up direct sunlight all day, in a way an indoor plant just can't. And its deep root system? That's like a powerful engine, constantly pulling up the water and nutrients it needs to run this incredible oxygen factory.
But you know what? The story doesn't even stop with oxygen. Not even close. A tree's value goes way beyond just the air we breathe. It's woven deep into the fabric of our whole ecosystem, doing these critical jobs that a little potted plant, well, it just can't do.
This chart really lays it all out, doesn't it? Okay, oxygen production, we know trees are the absolute powerhouses there. But look at all this other stuff. Their roots hold the soil together, preventing erosion. They help recharge our groundwater. They create this amazing cooling effect with their shade. And they support this incredibly rich web of wildlife. Houseplants, they just can't compete on any of these fronts.
Okay, this is all really interesting, but what does it actually mean for us, in a practical way, especially for those of us living in cities? Let's try to bring this whole lesson home with a little thought experiment.
All right, just picture this, a totally normal apartment building. Let's say it's got 5 floors, 2 families on each floor, and about 4 people in each family. Super standard stuff. You've probably got a building just like this on your street, right?
Okay, so some simple math tells us you've got 40 people living and breathing inside this one building. That's 40 people who need oxygen day in, day out, all year long.
So let's connect the dots. We just learned that one tree can support about 2 people. So for this one building with its 40 residents, how many mature trees does it need nearby just to break even on the oxygen they're breathing? Think about that. That's a small forest for just one apartment building. And that brings us to our final big idea. We plant trees along roads for shade to make things look nice, but what if we started thinking about it differently? What if our city planners actually started calculating the breathing needs of a building's population and planned trees accordingly? It's a pretty powerful and important question to think about, especially as we try to design the greener cities of the future.